Let me tell you something that might change the way you see your English forever. You are not bad at English. You don't lack vocabulary. You don't lack grammar. And you definitely don't lack intelligence. So why can't you speak fluently? Here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not what you know. It's what you do every single day. At the same time, there are others who become conversationally fluent in just 6 months. What's the difference? Not talent, not expensive courses, not living abroad. It's habits. Hello and welcome to English with Ryan. Chapter 1. You don't lack English. You lack the right habits. Most learners are stuck in a cycle. Watching videos, memorizing words, doing grammar exercises, but never training their brain to use English in real life. They are learning English like a subject, but fluency is a skill, and skills are built through repetition, not perfection. Here's another truth most people won't tell you. You don't need 10,000 words to speak fluently. You don't need perfect grammar, and you don't need to sound like a native speaker. You only need to build the right daily system. Imagine this. What if you could train your brain to think in English automatically? What if speaking English felt as natural as speaking your own language? What if, instead of translating in your head, words just came out? That's exactly what we're going to build. In this series, I'm not going to give you complicated theories. I'm going to give you something much more powerful. 5 simple daily habits. No matter where you live, no matter your level, no matter how busy you are, if you follow these habits consistently, your English will change not slowly, but noticeably within weeks. Because fluency is not a mystery, it's a pattern. And once you understand that pattern, everything becomes easier. So forget everything you thought you needed. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more information. You need the right actions repeated daily. Let's start with the most powerful habit of all, because this one will completely rewire how your brain uses English. Chapter 2. Think in English. The habit that changes everything. Right now, every time you try to speak English, your brain is doing extra work. You hear something in your native language. You translate it into English. Then you check the grammar. Then you try to say it. That's why you feel slow. That's why you hesitate. That's why conversations feel exhausting. Fluent speakers don't do this. They don't translate. They think directly in English. And this is a skill you can train every single day. Start with something simple. Your daily actions. When you wake up, instead of thinking in your native language, try describing what you are doing in English. I'm waking up. I'm brushing my teeth. I need coffee. I feel tired today. It may feel strange at first. That's normal. Your brain is not used to it yet. But this is exactly how you begin rewiring your thinking process. Next, expand to your environment. Look around you and label everything in English. Table, window, phone, messy room, bright light. Then go further. Don't just name things, describe them. The room is quiet. My phone battery is low. The weather looks nice. Now you're not just remembering words. You're building thoughts. Another powerful method is self-talk. Talk to yourself in English throughout the day. Not perfectly. Not grammatically perfect. Just naturally. What should I eat? Maybe I should work first. I don't feel like doing this. I need to focus. This is how fluency starts, not in conversations with others, but in conversations with yourself. If you're a beginner, keep it simple. Use basic words. Repeat the same structures. If you're more advanced, challenge yourself. Express opinion. Describe emotions. Explain your decisions. I think this is a good idea because I'm not sure if this will work. I feel stressed because I have too much work. The goal is not complexity. The goal is speed and comfort. At first, your brain will resist. It will try to go back to your native language. That's okay. Gently bring it back to English. Again and again. Over time, something surprising will happen. You'll stop translating. You'll start forming sentences instantly. And one day, without realizing it, you'll think in English automatically. That's when speaking becomes natural. Chapter 3. Habit hash 2. Speak out loud, turn knowledge into real ability. There is a hidden gap that almost every English learner falls into. You understand a lot. You recognize words. You can follow conversations. But when it's your turn to speak, everything freezes. That gap exists for one simple reason. You've trained your brain to receive English, not produce it. Speaking is a physical skill. It involves your mouth, your tongue, your rhythm, your timing. And like any physical skill, it improves through repetition, not thinking. That's why one of the most powerful habits you can build is this. Speak out loud. Every day. Not in your head. Not silently. Out loud. Your voice needs practice just as much as your brain. Start with reading aloud. Take a short paragraph from a book, an article, or subtitles, and read it out loud slowly. Focus on clarity, not speed. Feel how your mouth moves. Notice how words connect. Pay attention to the sound, not just the meaning. Then move to shadowing. Listen to a native speaker, a podcast, a YouTube video, a short clip, and repeat what they say immediately after hearing it. Don't pause too long. Don't analyze too much. Just follow the rhythm. Copy the tone. Match the speed as best as you can. At first, you will struggle to keep up. That's part of the process. This trains your brain to respond in real time, instead of overthinking. Another simple but powerful method is recording yourself. Pick a topic and speak for 1 minute. What did I do today? What are my plans? What do I think about this idea? Record it. Then listen back. You will notice mistakes. You will notice hesitation. You might even feel uncomfortable hearing your own voice. That discomfort is useful. It shows you exactly where you need to improve. And more importantly, it builds awareness, something silent practice can never give you. If you don't have a speaking partner, it doesn't matter. You can build fluency alone. What matters is consistency. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day of speaking out loud is more powerful than hours of passive learning. Because fluency is not about how much you know. It's about how quickly you can use what you know without stopping, without translating, without fear. And that only happens when your voice becomes part of the process. Chapter 4. Habit hash 3. Smart input. Train your brain the right way. Most learners believe that if they just listen more, read more, and watch more English content, fluency will come naturally. But that's not what actually happens. You can spend hours watching videos, listening to podcasts, or scrolling through English content and still struggle to speak. Because not all input is effective. There are 2 types of input: passive and active. Passive input is when you consume English like entertainment. You watch, you listen, you understand parts of it, but your brain stays relaxed. It doesn't work hard. It doesn't adapt. Active input is different. It forces your brain to notice patterns, sounds, and structures. It makes you engage, not just observe. That's where real progress begins. Start by choosing content at the right level. If it's too easy, your brain gets bored. If it's too difficult, your brain gives up. You should understand around 70 to 80%, just enough to follow, but still challenging. Now change how you listen. Instead of just playing audio in the background, slow down and focus. Listen to a short sentence. Pause. Repeat it out loud. Play it again. Notice how the speaker connects words. Going to becomes gonna. Want to becomes wanna. Words don't exist alone, they flow together. This is something textbooks rarely teach, but it's essential for real communication. Another powerful technique is intensive listening. Take a short clip, maybe 30 seconds. Listen to it multiple times. First, try to understand the general meaning, then listen again and catch specific words. Then read the transcript, if available. Finally, listen one more time and repeat. You're not just hearing English. You're decoding it. Reading can also be used in the same way. Don't just read for information. Read for patterns. Notice how sentences are formed. Notice common phrases. Notice how ideas are connected. Instead of learning random words, your brain starts recognizing structures. And once you recognize patterns, you can reuse them. That's how input turns into output. The goal is not to consume more. The goal is to consume smarter. Even 15 minutes of focused, active input can be more powerful than hours of passive exposure. Because when your brain is truly engaged, it doesn't just understand English. It starts to absorb it. Chapter 5. Habit Hash 4. Learn phrases, not words. Speak in chunks, not pieces. Most learners build their English like a puzzle, one word at a time. You memorize vocabulary lists. You learn definitions. You try to combine words into sentences when you speak. And in that moment, everything slows down. Because your brain is searching, selecting, arranging, and doubting. Fluent speakers don't build sentences word by word. They use ready-made chunks. Instead of thinking, I need, make, decision, they say, I need to make a decision. Instead of very tired, they say, completely exhausted. These are not random combinations. They are patterns stored in the brain as a single unit. That's why they come out faster and more naturally. When you learn phrases instead of individual words, you reduce the effort required to speak. You don't need to construct. You just recall. Start noticing this in everything you consume. When you hear a sentence, don't focus on isolated words. Focus on groups. I'm looking forward to it. That makes sense. It depends on the situation. I don't feel like going. Treat each of these as one piece, not many. Another mistake many learners make is trying to translate directly. They take a phrase from their native language and try to rebuild it in English. But languages don't work like mirrors. The natural way to express an idea in English is often completely different. That's why learning chunks is so powerful. You're not translating anymore. You're borrowing ready-made expressions. To make this habit effective, build your own phrase bank. Every day, collect 5 to 10 useful phrases, not complicated ones. Just practical, everyday expressions. Write them down. Say them out loud. Use them in your own sentences. For example, I'm not used to this. I'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. I'll get back to you. Then personalize them. I'm not used to waking up early. I'll figure it out later. It's not a big deal for me. Now the phrase becomes part of your language. Repetition is key. The more you reuse a phrase, the faster it becomes automatic. And once enough of these chunks are stored in your brain, something changes. You stop building sentences. You start speaking in flow. That's when English begins to feel natural, not because you know more words, but because you use them the way fluent speakers do. Chapter 6. Habit Hash 5. Daily micro practice. Small actions. Massive results. Most people overestimate what they can do in one day and underestimate what they can do in 1 month. They wait for the perfect moment. A free weekend. A long study session. A burst of motivation. And because that moment rarely comes, they stay stuck. Fluency doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency. That's why short, daily practice is far more powerful than long, irregular sessions. Even 15 to 30 minutes a day can completely transform your English if you use it correctly. The key is to keep it simple. You don't need a complicated plan. You need a repeatable routine. Start with thinking in English for a few minutes. Describe what you're doing. Express simple thoughts. Warm up your brain. Then, move to input. Listen to a short piece of content. Focus. Repeat key sentences. Don't try to understand everything. Just stay engaged. After that, switch to speaking. Talk out loud. React to what you heard. Share your opinion. I agree with this. I don't think this is true. This reminds me of... Now you're connecting input with output. And that connection is where real progress happens. The entire process can take less than 30 minutes. But what makes it powerful is repetition. When you do this every day, your brain starts expecting English. It becomes part of your routine, not something extra. Another useful strategy is habit stacking. Attach your English practice to something you already do daily. Practice while drinking coffee, while walking, while commuting. You're not adding a new task. You're upgrading an existing one. This removes resistance. Because the biggest challenge is not difficulty, it's starting. Keep your practice small enough that you never feel overwhelmed. Because once something feels heavy, you avoid it. But when it feels easy, you repeat it. And repetition creates results. You don't need to study harder. You need to show up more often. Even on days when you feel tired, even on days when you don't feel motivated. Because every small session reinforces the habit. And over time, those small sessions turn into something much bigger. Not through effort alone, but through consistency. Chapter 7. There is one obstacle that stops more people than grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation ever will. Fear. Not fear of English itself, but fear of being wrong. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of sounding stupid. Fear of being judged. So, instead of speaking, you stay silent. You wait until your sentence is perfect. You replay it in your head. You correct it again and again. And by the time you're ready, the moment is gone. This is how progress gets blocked. Because fluency is not built on perfection. It's built on repetition, especially imperfect repetition. Every mistake you make is not a failure. It's feedback. It shows you what you don't know yet. It shows you where to improve. But if you avoid mistakes, you avoid growth. Fluent speakers didn't become fluent because they spoke perfectly from the beginning. They became fluent because they spoke despite being imperfect. They made thousands of small mistakes and learned from each one. Another mindset that slows people down is perfectionism. You want to sound natural. You want to use the right words. You want to avoid embarrassment. But this creates pressure. And pressure kills fluency. When your brain is focused on being perfect, it cannot be fast. And speaking requires speed. Instead of aiming for perfect English, aim for clear English. Instead of trying to impress, try to express. Your goal is not to sound like a native speaker. Your goal is to communicate your ideas. If people understand you, you are already succeeding. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after repeated action. You don't wait to feel confident, then speak. You speak, and confidence grows from that experience. Start small. Say simple sentences. Share short opinions. Ask basic questions. Each time you speak, you prove to yourself that you can do it. And that proof builds confidence faster than any motivation ever could. Also, stop comparing yourself to others. There will always be someone better, faster, more fluent, but their journey is not yours. Focus on your own progress. What matters is that you are better than yesterday, even slightly, because small improvements, repeated daily, create real change. And once your mindset shifts, everything else becomes easier. Not because English becomes simpler, but because you stop holding yourself back. Chapter 8. The 3-0-day system turn habits into real fluency. Most people don't fail because they lack effort. They fail because they don't have a clear system. They try different methods. They switch between resources. They start strong, then lose direction. Progress becomes inconsistent. Motivation fades. And eventually, they stop. What you need is not more techniques. You need structure. A simple system you can follow every day without thinking too much. For the next 30 days, your only goal is this. Show up daily and complete a short, focused routine. Keep it realistic. Start with 20 to 30 minutes a day. Break it into 3 parts. First, activate your thinking. Spend 5 minutes thinking in English. Describe your actions. Express simple thoughts. Ask yourself questions. Keep it natural and continuous. Second, train your input. Spend 10 minutes with focused listening or reading. Choose short content. Listen carefully. Repeat key phrases. Don't rush. Stay present. Let your brain notice patterns and sounds. Third, produce language. Spend 10 to 15 minutes speaking out loud. Talk about your day. React to what you learned. Share your opinions. Keep going, even if you hesitate. Fluency grows in motion, not in silence. At the end of each session, reflect briefly. What felt easy? What felt difficult? What new phrase did you use? This awareness helps you improve faster. Every 7 days, increase the challenge slightly. Speak a bit longer. Use more complex ideas. Push your comfort zone just a little. Not too much, just enough to grow. Also, track your consistency, not your perfection. Use a simple calendar. Mark each day. You complete your routine. Your goal is not to be perfect for 30 days. Your goal is to not break the chain, because consistency builds momentum, and momentum makes everything easier. Around day 10, you'll notice small changes. You hesitate less. You recall words faster. You feel more comfortable speaking. Around day 20, your confidence increases. You start expressing ideas more clearly. You think less about structure. You focus more on meaning. By day 30, something shifts. English no longer feels like a task. It becomes part of your daily life. And that's the real goal. Not just to learn English, but to live with it.